Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. My name is Gregory Mitchell, and along with Cindy Giacchetti, we represent Charles Liggins. You just heard what the government tells you, what the evidence from their perspective is going to show. But I want you to understand something here. As the judge has already instructed you, that's not evidence, not the slides, not the PowerPoints, none of it. So I ask you to listen, take your time, and weigh the evidence. Let's start off with the first thing. What is Parkway Gardens? Parkway Gardens is a public housing complex that's been in existence for 40 years. A safe public housing place for women and kids that people have grown up there. Parkway Gardens is not O-Block. O-Block is not Parkway Gardens. Let's make it clear. The fact that individuals may live or reside in Parkway Gardens on the south side of Chicago or on a block does not make that location an enterprise for crime. The fact that there may be individuals there who commit crime does not make that location a criminal enterprise. Understand, we're talking about a location on the south side of Chicago with street gangs. You know, street gangs exist. The government has pointed out there's several different sects all over the place. This is not a case of whether or not you have to find any defendant guilty of being a member of a street gang. That's not the issue. They start off by telling you that Mr. Weekly was a high-ranking gang member, saying about his gang was everything STL. That's not the question. The question is, what does the evidence actually say? What does it actually prove? What you will hear from the witnesses themselves that even though there's been gang issues for a long time, about 15 years ago, something very unique happened at Parkway. Music began to develop right there in Parkway Gardens in 19. That was 2010. A young 15-year-old from Parkway Gardens created a music genre that had not been heard. Yeah, we know about hip-hop, we know about rap music from the East Coast and the West Coast and the Southern area, but right here in the heart of Chicago, a young rap artist created a new genre. His name was Keith Cozart. You haven't heard his name, but he lived there in Parkway. You may have heard him by the name of Chief Keef, who lived right there. 15 years old, blew up right there. Chicago drill rap started, and all the young men that lived there saw it. But how did it start? How did Chief Keef, 15 years old, Parkway Gardens, right there? There was no O-Block then. Okay, no O-Block. Blew up. How? YouTube, internet, Instagram, Facebook, email, mixtapes blew up, and everybody there saw it. Everybody there saw it. And I suspect even Carlton Weekly, who was about the same age at the time, and another person by the name of Davon Bennett, who you've introduced as King Von, around the same time. And what did they have in common? Mixtapes, Chicago drill rap, tattoos, jewelry, dissing each other back and forth. Millions of views, millions of recordings, millions of fans. What does that create? Well, we know. It creates followers. People who want to be like you and rap, drill rap, do what you do, dress like you dress, tattoo like you tattoo, be around you, mimic what you do, become friends, especially if we all grew up in the same area. Parkway Gardens, 4 blocks down, STL, Lamrin. 4 blocks over is University of Chicago, too. It's all right there. 3 individuals. The one thing that they put out, though, is this is how you make it. This is how you make it. You create music, you create videos, you put your move out there on YouTubes, you create a following, you become popular, you create an image. And we know about images on the internet. As the judge instructed you, you don't just leave your common sense and what you know about the world out the door. We understand. We know that Snoop Dogg's name is not Snoop Dogg. We know 50 Cent's name is not 50 Cent. Okay, we understand they have personas that they create. King Von created his persona. Chief Keef created his persona. FBG. Carlton Weekly created his persona. During this entire time, our client Charles Liggins are friends with all of them. He's there. He begins to do the same thing, make videos, YouTube, Instagram. He gets followers back and forth. The friends that he creates around, all of them make friends with King Von. He's there. They grew up in the same area. They're wearing chains. They're buddies. But how do you get followers on Instagram? How do you become famous? How do you become of substance that people want to follow you so you can become valuable? Well, there's a couple of ways, as you know. You create a product that everybody wants. You become popular because of what you say or don't say, or you create a persona that people began to imagine things about you. But you live this alternate issue. You saw his name, C. Murda. The evidence will show that he got that name back in 2014. He started emailing, Facebooking, YouTube. I'm C. Murda from O Block. I'm C. Murda from O Block from 2014. That's his hook. The question is, are you going to be able to determine fact versus fiction about this story? It's sad Mr. Weekly was murdered, just like the government told you. But they're not going to give you one witness to put Mr. Charles Liggins on Oak Street on August 4th. Not one. Not one. They're going to tell you, though, that he's friends with King Von. And King Von was a big-time rapper who made a lot of money, who came back to Parkway Gardens where he was from and made videos. And he hired his friends to be in the videos, that he came back and he would show them money, and they would show them money, and he was there in Parkway Gardens. And he gave them all gold O Block medallions. Their crew, they go on tours with him. That's what you're going to see. There's no denying that. The government wants you to believe that O Block is an enterprise. It's a place. Parkway Gardens has 2,000 or so residents. O Block is the place where Chicago drill rap was focused. The evidence is going to tell you, and the government knows this. The evidence is going to show that there was no O Block name back in the day. Black disciples and gangster disciples. There was no O Block. What happened? What happened? How did it get its name? Well, and they will tell you, when King Von blew up, Davon Bennett from Parkway Gardens made a mixtape, started getting lots of money, coming back to Parkway Gardens, took on the name O Block, and starts singing about O Block. O Block was his home. O Block is no more of a criminal enterprise than Chirac is. Okay, which is the name that was given to Chicago by Spike Lee. O Block is the home of Chicago drill rap because there were prominent, repeat it, young men 15, 16, 17-year-old that blew up from there. And everybody from London to Japan now knows that's where you go to understand Chicago drill rap music. No denying it. Now you heard information about cars. Cars parked at O Block. Those cars don't belong to Mr. Liggins. There's no indication that Mr. Liggins was driving any car. You'll hear evidence that when they found one of the cars, they swabbed it to see fingerprints, DNA, anything. There's no Mr. Liggins in that car. Again, you're going to be tasked with deciding fact versus fiction concerning what O Block is. A criminal enterprise run by somebody to do something who has the power within 5 seconds or 10 seconds to send 2 cars scrambling to commit a murder for somebody who's not even in O Block. Now think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Somebody has the power to cause 2 cars scrambling. We don't know who's in it. We know who the cars are. We don't know if it's 3 people in the car or 4 people in the car. We don't know. And we don't know who got out of the car. But because the government wants you to understand that this is street gangs, and street gangs click up, and O Block has a reputation because that's what Chicago drill rap artists do. They create reputations. They create images. They create things to sell records, to get fans and followers. We ask you to keep an open mind. Judge the evidence critically. Hold the government to its burden. And if you do that, we believe at the end of the day, you're going to return a verdict of not guilty against Charles Liggins on all counts.